There comes a moment in every life when you look in the mirror and realize something uncomfortable. The person staring back at you is not who you want to be. Not yet. Perhaps you see someone who procrastinates, someone who chooses comfort instead of growth, excuses instead of discipline, distractions instead of purpose. And deep down, you know, there is a stronger, more capable, more disciplined version of you waiting to be uncovered. But that version will not appear until you're willing to do something powerful, kill the weak version of yourself. We all carry two versions of ourselves. Inside everyday one is the weak self, the one that craves the easy path, makes excuses, complains, avoids risk, and fears failure. The other is the strong self, the one that demands excellence, takes responsibility, acts with discipline, chooses growth, and refuses to give up. And every morning when you wake up, a battle begins. Most people lose this battle not because they are incapable, but because they do not even realize they are fighting one. They think life is something that happens to them, instead of something built by them. So they accept a life far beneath their potential. But you, if you are listening to this, it means something inside you is already awake. You are tired of settling. You are tired of feeling stuck. You are ready to evolve. And that transformation begins the moment you decide, the weak version of me must die today. Stop feeding your excuses. Every excuse you speak is fuel for your weaker self. Replace "I can't" with "How can I?" Because the moment you say, "I can't," your brain shuts down. It stops searching, stops thinking, stops fighting. You hand your future over to limitation without even attempting to see what's possible. Excuses create mental paralysis. They feel comforting in the moment because they protect you from discomfort, effort, and responsibility. But that comfort is poison disguised as safety. The more you feed it, the more power it gains over you, until eventually the weak version of you becomes the only version you know. Excuses are not reflections of reality. They are reflections of mindset. When you say you don't have time, what you often mean is, "I didn't choose to make it a priority." When you say you're not ready, you often mean, "I'm afraid of failing." When you say you don't know how, what you really mean is, "I don't want to try yet." The weak self speaks through these excuses, convincing you that things are impossible, so you never take action. And the painful truth is, most people won't realize how many opportunities they've lost until they look back wishing for another chance. But the moment you replace "I can't" with "How can I?" everything changes. That simple shift transforms your mind from a wall into a doorway. Suddenly your brain begins searching for paths instead of barriers. You start asking better questions. What step can I take today? Who can I learn from? What can I improve? How can I start small and build? You begin to see possibilities where excuses once lived. The weak self is silenced, and the stronger self begins to rise. The most successful people in the world are not the smartest, richest, or most talented. They are the ones who refuse to let excuses guide their decisions. They felt fear, doubt, exhaustion, uncertainty, just like everyone else, but they moved anyway. They chose progress over perfection. They chose action over hesitation. They replaced every excuse with a solution. So the next time your mind whispers, "I can't," stop immediately and ask, say it out loud. Write it down. Repeat it until your identity changes. Because every time you ask, "How can I?" you take one step closer to your strongest, most capable self, and one step further away from the version that has been holding you back for far too long. Discipline is the weapon of your stronger self because it does not rely on how you feel in the moment. It relies on commitment. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up filled with energy and passion, ready to conquer everything in your path. But there are other days when you don't want to move, speak, or try. If your progress is controlled by emotion, you will always fall short. Discipline is what carries you through when motivation disappears. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Every great accomplishment in history was built by someone who refused to quit when the excitement faded. Most people wait to feel inspired before they take action. They say, "I'll start when I feel ready," or "I'll begin when everything is perfect." But there is no perfect moment. There is only now. Discipline teaches you to show up regardless of your mood, your circumstances, or the obstacles in your way. When you learn to act without negotiation, you become powerful because you stop giving your weaker self a voice. Discipline starts small. You don't transform your entire life overnight. You begin by making small promises to yourself and keeping them. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Exercise for just 10 minutes. Read a few pages of a book. Put your phone down when it's time to work. These micro habits seem insignificant at first, but each one strengthens your identity. Every time you follow through, you cast a vote for the stronger version of yourself. You build self-respect, and self-respect is fuel. It's not about perfection. You will have days when you slip. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. What matters is that you return to your commitment the next day. Discipline is consistency, not rigidity. It's choosing progress over comfort every single time. Over weeks and months, something remarkable happens. What once felt difficult becomes normal. The habits that were once a battle become part of who you are. And that is when you realize discipline isn't punishment. It is freedom. It frees you from regret, from wasted potential, from the pain of remaining the same. So when the weak voice whispers that you can skip your responsibilities, ignore it. When the strong voice tells you to do the work, obey it. Because every act of discipline is a vote for the person you are becoming, and one day you will thank yourself for never giving up. Environment shapes identity, and far more deeply than most people realize. The place you spend your time, the people you surround yourself with, and the energy you allow into your life all mold your behavior, your mindset, and ultimately your future. Many individuals believe they can achieve greatness while staying in environments that constantly weaken them, but that is impossible. You cannot grow in soil that refuses to nourish you. If your surroundings encourage laziness, negativity, or complacency, you will slowly absorb those traits without even noticing. Every distraction you entertain, whether it's endless scrolling, constant entertainment, or hours wasted on activities with no purpose, feeds your weaker self. Distractions may feel harmless, but they steal something irreplaceable: time. And time is the currency of transformation. You cannot become the strongest version of yourself while indulging the habits that keep you stagnant. To grow, you must replace those distractions with actions that serve your future. You must become intentional about every minute and every decision. Negative influences are equally dangerous. The energy of the people around you becomes the energy within you. If you surround yourself with individuals who complain, who mock ambition, who encourage comfort instead of progress, you will eventually adopt the same mindset. Humans mirror their environment. It's a psychological truth. When you surround yourself with people who criticize your goals or make you feel foolish for dreaming bigger, you begin doubting yourself, shrinking your vision, and settling for less than you're capable of. You cannot fly when you are surrounded by those who refuse to leave the ground. Time-wasting routines are another silent enemy. The autopilot habits you repeat daily form your identity. If your routine is filled with actions that drain you instead of strengthening you, your potential will suffocate. Growth demands structure, discipline, and an environment that supports progress, not comfort. You need a space that inspires focus, people who challenge you to rise higher, and habits that reinforce strength rather than weakness. Protect your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. If you want to transform, you must build an environment that honors your goals. Remove the noise. Set boundaries. Distance yourself from influences that keep you small. Surround yourself with the kind of energy you wish to embody. When your environment strengthens you instead of weakening you, your identity naturally rises to meet the level of your potential. Choose temporary discomfort over permanent regret. Growth hurts. Remaining the same hurts more. Choose the pain that leads somewhere. We all face moments when the easy path calls to us. It whispers, you can do it tomorrow. Rest now. Avoid the struggle. And it feels comfortable, it feels safe. But comfort has a cost, one that most people only realize when it's too late. Because while discomfort is temporary, regret is permanent. It stays, it lingers, it haunts. Discomfort might be waking up early when you feel tired, choosing discipline when every part of you wants to break, studying when others are relaxing, training your body when quitting would be easier, or making difficult decisions that require courage. These moments test you. They stretch you. They hurt a little. But that pain has a purpose. Every second of discomfort is a brick laid in the foundation of your future. It is the cost of becoming someone stronger, wiser, more capable, and more confident. Regret, on the other hand, is different. It doesn't strike immediately. It waits quietly. It waits until you realize the time you wasted isn't coming back. It waits until the opportunity you avoided is gone forever. It waits until you see someone else living the life you know you were capable of. But you didn't do the work. Regret is the pain of knowing that you had the ability, you had the chance, and you chose comfort over growth. Temporary discomfort is painful, yes, but it ends. Muscles ache and then they grow. Skills confuse you and then they click. Confidence feels impossible, and then one day you own it. Discomfort transforms you. It shapes your character, your discipline, and your identity. Every act of discipline tells your mind, I am stronger than my feelings. I am in control. When you choose discomfort, you choose progress. When you choose comfort, you choose stagnation. There is no neutral path. You are either stepping forward or falling behind. The future version of you is watching everything you do right now, and that version is either grateful or disappointed. So when you reach that crossroads, and you will, ask yourself a simple question: will I suffer for a moment now, or will I suffer permanently later? Because the truth is, unavoidable pain is part of life. But you get to choose which pain you carry, the pain of growth or the pain of regret. Choose the pain that leads somewhere. Making promises to yourself and keeping them is one of the most powerful forces in personal transformation. It might seem simple, almost too simple, but it is the foundation of self-respect and inner strength. Every time you set a goal, make a commitment, or tell yourself you will do something, you create an agreement with your own identity. When you follow through, even in the smallest ways, you send a message to your mind, I can rely on me. And when you break those promises, you send the opposite message, I cannot trust myself. Think about how you feel when someone else constantly lets you down, shows up late, breaks their commitments, makes promises, and never follows through. Eventually, you stop believing them. Their words lose power. Their intentions mean nothing. Now recognize that the same thing happens internally. When you tell yourself you will start waking up early, or eat healthier, or study harder, or finish a project, and then you don't follow through, your mind quietly stops believing you. You may still speak big dreams, but inside there's doubt, hesitation, and hesitation becomes paralysis. The solution is not to aim for perfection, nor to overwhelm yourself with massive goals overnight. The real power lies in making small, achievable commitments and building consistency. When you say, I will read for 10 minutes, and you do it, you take a step forward. When you say, I will exercise for 5 minutes, and follow through, you earn respect from yourself. These small victories compound. They strengthen your internal voice. They rebuild confidence that may have been lost through years of broken promises. The difference between a weak self and a strong self is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is integrity with oneself. Keeping promises is a training ground for discipline. It teaches your mind that you are a person of action, not just intention. Every time you honor your word, you carve a stronger identity. An identity is destiny. When you become someone who always follows through, procrastination loses its power, doubt loses its grip. The world around you begins to respond differently because you radiate certainty rather than apology. So make promises that matter. Keep them even when you feel tired, even when motivation is gone, even when no one is watching. That is how self-respect is built, not through words, but through action. And when you become someone you trust, there is nothing you cannot build. Act like the person you want to become means stepping into the identity of your future self right now. Not someday, not when circumstances change, not when everything feels perfect. Now. Every great transformation begins with a shift in identity before you ever see results. You don't become confident and then start acting confidently. You act confidently first, and confidence grows from those actions. You don't wait to feel disciplined before you build discipline. You move with discipline, and eventually it becomes natural. We often think change requires waiting for motivation or inspiration, but real change begins with action. The way you behave teaches your mind who you are. If you carry yourself like someone strong, responsible, and focused, eventually your brain accepts that identity as reality. Your actions sculpt the way you think and who you become. Imagine the version of yourself you dream of becoming, the stronger, more capable, successful, and controlled version. How does that person wake up? How do they speak to themselves? How do they handle challenges? How do they spend their time? What do they say yes to, and what do they refuse? That future version already exists in your imagination, which means the blueprint is already created. Your job is simply to start living as that person would. If your future self wouldn't hit the snooze button, then don't. If that version of you wouldn't waste hours scrolling and avoiding work, then stop giving your time away. If that version would train, study, create, and move with purpose, then begin doing exactly that. Even if it feels unnatural at first, act anyway. Identity is built through repetition, not perfection. Most people fail because they wait to feel ready, but readiness doesn't come first. Identity does. You cannot grow into a new life while holding on to old behaviors. If you want different results, you must develop different habits. If you want strength, Behave like someone strong. If you want success, carry yourself like someone who refuses to quit. If you want respect, start by respecting yourself with your daily actions. The future version of you is not created by dreams or wishes. It is revealed through every small choice you make today. Behave like the person you want to become, and soon the world will treat you like that person. More importantly, you will begin to believe that you already are.